I'm Sherita Herring, your show host of Beverly Hills to Barnyard for the next 30 minutes. You're listening to the WCEG Network on WCEGTalkRadio.com or watch us live on your smart TV, YouTube, and WCEG Network. We're the worldwide community empowerment group where we speak life into the community. Like WCEG on Facebook, follow on Twitter or Instagram at WCEG_talk_radio and at WCEG Network. Last but not least, the topics and opinions are those of the show hosts and guests and not the WCEG Network. Thank you so much for your continued support. So I've got a few announcements I'm going to make before I bring you my very special guest. Remember, if you are a pet owner, if you are low to moderate income and have had trouble with veterinary bills or just haven't even taken your pet to the vet because of the expense, join me on November 4th. Go to my website at philanthropyalliance.org and click on the veterinary program and get on the Zoom that I'm going to be doing in early November to talk about the program. Also, starting in November is my grant writing masterclass. And so if you want a full-blown proposal written by the end of the 6-week class, it's once a week on Thursday, 2 hours. And after the 6-week class, you will have your grant proposal written. Now, if you're not ready for that class, I'm having a micro session in early December, preparing you for 2024. You know, people do not understand, they don't even believe that there's over $75 billion in grant money given annually. And so if you are not a part of that, going after that piece of the pie, you're missing out. So if you want to know how you can get better prepared for 2024, then join me on the micro session. It's going to be a 3-hour session on a Saturday morning. And again, it's on my website at philanthropyalliance.org. So now, I've got a very special treat for you today with my very special guest who is a homegrown girl right here in Arkansas. And so Phyllis Hodges is a best-selling author and best-selling author of a living history book, 8 Years of Unforgettable History, and currently on a statewide book tour with school superintendents and city mayors. And I hope you guys don't hear my dogs outside. Someone must be pulling up. But anyway, as a multi-talented author and several books, she has also self-published A Divine Connection, which is a self-help testimonial and fitness book. Phyllis's story, School Days, was included in the compilation Writing Our Lives Volume 2, a Southern Storyteller's anthology, and her story, A Reflection of My Living History, was included in Writing Our Lives Volume 3, a Southern Storyteller's anthology. The author is currently working on 3 additional books. So again, if you've got a book in you that you've been waiting to birth, you do not want to miss this lady. There's so much more to tell about her, but I do want to tell you about her personally. Born in Little Rock, Phyllis has been married to her hubby for over 49 years. The two have 2 adult children and 3 young adult grandchildren. So without further ado, I want to bring you my very special guest, Miss Phyllis. How are you, darling?
Hey, I'm excellent. How are you?
Good, good, good. I'm so glad to have you on, especially while you're on this amazing tour. So let's jump right in. Tell us what this tour is about and what has happened so far. Uh-oh, did something happen to my guest? You know what? I think something has happened to my guest, so she's going to be coming right back in. While we're waiting on Phyllis, she has been on a tour with, like I said, superintendents. She's gotten an award. She has so many things that have happened. And so I just want to wait and let her share it with you. She must have hit the wrong button. So while we're waiting, let me talk to you about the difference in the 2 grant writing offerings that we have coming up. The grant writing masterclass, like I said, it's over a 6-week period because I've had people to ask. And again, that's where you're writing the proposal while we're in the class. You have homework in between the sessions that happen weekly. I'm editing your proposal. You leave the class with a full list of grant funders specific to your programs. And again, the micro session is a 3-hour session where we're covering what you should never write in a grant proposal. What are the components of a grant proposal? Identifying grant funders that truly fit what you're looking for to do. We also talk about how do you include your outcomes, your deliverables of what you're expecting. So there's a lot that I'm just excited about. The other thing about grants, while Phyllis is on, when she comes back on today, I'm going to talk to you about some grants that are available for authors. While we're featuring this very special author, we're going to make sure and talk about grants that are available for those of you that are planning to do some writing and the kinds of grants that are available as far as for authors. So I hope that Phyllis is able to come back on. So now, some other things. If you would like to receive the free grant information and other activities that we send out on a weekly basis, again, go to my website at philanthropyalliance.org. That's philanthropyalliance.org. And click, and as soon as you go there, a menu will pop up and talk to you about signing up for our database. Now, I want to, while I'm waiting on Phyllis, I'm just going to branch over and talk about grants that are available for writers. Like, for instance, PEN America. Let me just tell you what they're about. They give grants and fellowships. So since 1963, the PEN America Literary Awards Grants and Fellowships Program has honored many of the most outstanding voices in literature across diverse genres, including fiction, poetry, nonfiction, children's literature, translation, and drama. With the help of our partners, PEN America confers distinct grants each year to support writers and works in program in diverse genres, including translation. So let me read to you a few of the things that they have. There's a PEN Bear Life Review Grants, and the PEN Bear Life Review Grants recognize literary works by immigrant and refugee writers. And let me give you a little bit more information about that. Let's see. Now, some of these are small grants, and it says, beginning with the 2024 grant conferral, PEN America will confer 2 PEN Bear Life Review grants of $5,000 each. And eligibility applications for the 2024 cycle will be accepted. Oh, missed that deadline. Those proposals had to be submitted between July 7th and July 21st, 2023. Now, I'm wondering, I'm talking to my engineer now, if I put this link in the comment section, Vivian, will they be able to, those that are watching, will they be able to get this particular link? If I put it in the chat for those that may be watching live? Okay, so I'm going to put that link there for that particular grant. Okay, we have our guest back, right? We're waiting on her to come back up on the camera, I think. So let me go and talk about some of the other grants that are under the PEN America. There's another, and it's called the Nyler Grant for Children's and Young Adult Novelists. And this particular grant, let me give you some information about it. It's offered annually to an author of children's or young adult fiction for a novel in progress. Get that, novel in progress. Previously called the PEN Phyllis Nyler Working Writer Fellowship, the award was developed to help writers whose work is of high literary caliber and assist a writer at a crucial moment in their career to complete their novel. So if you're interested in this particular grant, it's also a $5,000 grant. I'm going to put that in the chat to take you directly to this particular grant funder. And that's in the chat. Now, again, with my micro session, if you're interested in these grants and you're not sure on how to go after what is the process, please, please, please join me for my micro session. It's only $99. And I will answer any of your questions, even if you have a grant application that you're already looking at. if you'd like for me to answer any questions, you might be confused about something they're saying in the grant guidelines, or you might even be wondering, what is an LOI, which is a letter of intent? And a letter of intent, oftentimes grant funders will ask for that instead of getting a full-blown proposal. And so a letter of intent is normally a 1 to maximum 3-page document where you're explaining who you are and who are you planning to serve, or what is your project. And you're giving him a brief description of what would be in a full-blown proposal. And so again, if you've got any questions or you're wondering about anything else, sometimes people are wondering also about their board of directors and why are grant funders asking about that? And what kind of information would you include with that? And so again, you want to join me for my micro session because it's going to be action-packed with information. And so let me see what's going on with my guest, make sure that she's not emailing me. I hope that that everything is okay with her internet so she can come back to us. Now, also with with grant writing, I'm sticking on that because I want to talk some more about the grants. A lot of authors don't know that there are grants available for them. So I'm going to go back over to here to the PEN grants. And there's another one that's available. It's called Translation Fund Grant for the translation of book length works of fiction, creative nonfiction, poetry, or drama that have not previously appeared in English. So if you have something that you want to be translated, you can go after the HIM Translation Fund Grant. They're giving, let's see, they have endowed more than 730,000 from the Michael Henry HIM. And let's see, in response to the dismayingly low number of literary translations currently appearing in English, its purpose is to promote the publication and reception of translated international literature in English. So if you know someone that can use this information that could go after this particular grant, I'm also going to put it in the chat. And this is for translation. There you go. And the next one is the Gene Stein grants for literary oral history. And what is this particular grant for? And who's eligible? Let's see. The literary oral history recognized literary works of nonfiction that use oral history to illuminate an event, individual place, or movement. Past winners include Sharon Green, Leota Perez, and so many others. So they say we're pleased to announce the beginning, that beginning with the 2021 grant, we will confer two more to the oral history. Let's see, increased cash prizes. The prizes that they're offering now are $15,000 each. The grants are made possible by a substantial contribution from the American author and editor Gene Stein, whose groundbreaking work helped popularize literary oral history. Her books include The Times of Robert Kennedy, An American Biology, and West of Eden, An American Place. So if you're interested in this particular grant, let me see what else it says down here. Eligibility. The submitted project must be a work of a single individual written in English. The project must be an unpublished work in progress that will not be published prior to April 2025, as the grants are intended to support the completion of the final book. The project must be a work of literary nonfiction. Oral history must be a significant component of the project. So if you know anyone that this would be a great fit for them, I'm also placing it in the chat. Okay. Who else do we have? Let's see, what else are we funding? So now those again are just some of the PEN grants. Let's see what else they have. Now, About grants, I'm just kind of going to branch off of this page for a moment. Um, a lot of people are afraid of grants and they think that they need a grant writer in order to go after grants. That is such a myth. Yes, an experienced grant writer can be a great help for you, like that's what I do. But just like with any business, any project, initially you have to know how to go after your own money. And the reason why so many people are unsuccessful with grant writers is first, you have to know how to select a grant writer. What do you know about grant writing? And so if you don't know even what you're selecting, you don't know if you're making the wrong choices. What is the language of grant writing? Um, what should a grant writer be saying to you about their experience? So when you learn the grant writing process, all of those things are taught to you, all of those the things that you should be looking for in a grant writer because you're learning the process yourself. You will know how to recognize a skilled grant writer. But again, in the very beginning of any process, you should know how to go after your own money. And so that's why I offer the classes that I teach. And again, if there's all this money that's out there available, but you don't know how to go after it, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? So let me show you some others that are out here for authors. Since today's show is about a magnificent writer, let's see. The E-Team program. Let's see. What are they talking about? Not only do they give dollars for writers, they even help in student inventors. Now look at this, the E-Team program, part of the Venture Well Accelerator, supports student ventures as you embark down the path you're likely to take as an innovator and entrepreneur. We help you advance your invention through a powerful mix of up to $25,000 in grant funding, entrepreneurship training, mentorship. These are other things they offer along with it, mentorship, national recognition, and networking with peers and industry experts. Do you have an idea that can change the world? Every year we award over $800,000 in non-dilutive E-Team grants to early stage innovator teams that develop scalable innovations which aim to solve a large social, health, or environmental challenge. Applications will open in November 2023. Join the wait list to receive updates when they become available. So let me put the link for you to join this wait list if this is a fit for you. And again, this particular grant that I'm speaking of is for youth innovators. And all of us know youth, all of us know young innovators. So please, please, please share this information. Next. You guys, it looks like I'm going to have to bring my special guest on another time. And I'm really sorry about that. Phyllis, hopefully you will be able to join us back soon. And so now, let's see. There's another, program, the first stop in bringing your innovation to life. Let's see, let me go back. Now, this particular one, let's see what it says. There's so many popping up. And you guys, you can see what I'm seeing. I'm searching in Google. If you type in grants, comma, authors, comma, 2023, it's as simple as that. This is what I'm looking at. Again, I typed in grants, comma, space, authors, comma, space, 2023. And when you're searching for grants, it's not that grants are hard to find, it's understanding how to go after the grants that's important. So here's another one, Amazon Literary Partnership Grant applications for let's see, what are they saying, requests for 2023? You know what? Since we're coming up on 2024, let me type in 2024. Okay. Internet Society Foundation. Let's see what they're saying. Let's see, they got some good stuff. Introduction. The Internet Society Foundation is committed to supporting all organizations interested in applying for funding with resources to strengthen grant applications. We have put together this guidance to help you think about not only the details of your project, but also the impact of your project. And let's see. It's too much information there for me to read. Let me move down to another one. Grants for arts projects and literary arts. Let's see. Through its support of literary arts organizations, and this is the National Endowment for the Arts, they encourage people of all ages to write and encourage with literary content in meaningful ways. Now, let me stop for a moment. That just reminds me of something. You know, I do a lot of grant writing and developing projects all over the world. And a few of the organizations that I have worked with that actually have been focused on getting young people into college. When you're identifying the needs of why young people don't remain in college, do you know that one of the greatest issues that young people have had in college is writing? Because of course, college is going to be a lot of writing. So there are so many programs to help young people with their writing before even going into college. Whether you develop a creative writing program that you can actually conduct virtually, you can hold creative writing programs with young people all over the world, the same way you're watching me right now on Zoom. And so, yes, I'm talking about the grants that are available for writing, but what about helping those individuals that could get to this point? And so that just came to my mind. And let's help so many young people to not drop out of college by exposing them to writing skills, creative writing, that can help them even prior to going to college. You know, the last show, I even talked about my oldest son, how when he was in, I think, the 7th or 8th grade, during the summer, I had him to turn in a book report every week because I had received a report that he wasn't doing as well in writing because he was an athlete and that's all he wanted to focus on. He's a smart young man, but he just wasn't doing as well in writing and his reading. But what I thought about, this boy can tell me about baseball cards, basketball cards, read exactly what the back of it is saying, tell me the history of each player. So he's reading. He just wasn't interested in reading what they wanted him to read. So that summer, I subscribed to Sports Illustrated for Kids, and I had him turn in a book report to me every week. And that his reading skills and writing went up 3 levels by the end of summer. And so it's very important that our young people progress in their reading and writing, but if they're not doing as well, find out what their interests are and then provide the reading materials in that way. And it's guaranteed that they will progress. So now back to what I was reading here, as far as for these youth, the literary arts programs, let's see. This program helps writers of all stages of their careers create, publish, and connect directly with readers, and helps readers in communities across the country have access to a diversity of voices. These organizations, such as literary presses and journals, book festivals, literary centers, literary presenters, and literary service organizations, complement the commercial publishing sector and play an important role in the shaping of contemporary literature. So the National Endowment is committed to diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, and fostering mutual respect for the diverse beliefs and values of all individuals and groups. So now let's go down and see what they have available. The literary publishing, February is the deadline. These projects from literary journals and independent and university presses seek to publish and promote literary content by contemporary writers and translators in such genres as poetry, fiction, drama, and creative nonfiction. Now let's pause a moment with poetry. You guys, poetry has always been popular. Yes, it's being popularized more right now, especially with the young lady that spoke at, that did her poetry at the President Obama's inauguration. Oh, what is her name? You all know who I'm talking about. And there are so many poetry contests and that kind of thing. But do you know that there have been poets that have been reading and creating wonderful works for our states, and they're called poet laureates. Let me tell you a little bit about poet laureates. Laureates, whatever you call them. Because if you're interested in poetry, you could be the next poet laureate from your state. And so let me tell you a little bit about them. A poet laureate, let me see the history. Officially appointed by, now this is the beginning history, officially appointed by a government or a conferring institution, typically expected to compose poems for special events and occasions. Do you know that a lot of poet laureates also, because of their beautiful way with words, poet laureates of each state oftentimes will help with the wording that brings tourists to particular states. They speak at special events for the governors and for other heads of state. Let's see, typical expected to compose, let's see, this writing is so little. Let's see, Albert Masuo of something was the first to be crowned poet laureate after the classical age, respectively. Look at this, in 1315 was the very first poet laureate, right? In ancient Greece, the laurel was used to form a crown of wreath of honor for poets and heroes. The custom from the ancient myth, Apollo, Daphne and Apollo, was revived in Musado, followed by, I don't know what all these different names are, but anyway, the poet laureates go all the way back to 1315. And now we have current poet laureates. Let me give you the current. Let's see, poet laureates, Ada Limon, Stanley Kuntz, Kay Ryan. And so again, there's so many avenues for poets. And so back over to this literary grant, I got excited to tell you about the poet laureates. They say here, we welcome project activities that focus on publishing, promoting, and distributing books and or journal issues online or in print or in audio formats. Projects may also include efforts to deepen and expand engagement with audiences, including through the use of digital or emergent technology, and or collaborate within and across fields to advance literary publishing. So this is the literary publishing grant that's due in February 2024. And let me just go here. The grants for arts projects deadline, submit, let's see, February 9th, 2024 by 11:59 p.m. You guys, and you must meet the exact deadline. They will not accept anything past the timeline of when they say, and that's with any grant. So you want to make sure that you're prepared for that. Part 2, submit to application. Let's see, it's too much for me to read, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this link in the chat. So that you have that. So let's see, let me go back over. Now, you guys, this is just off the top of my head, so I hope that I'm coming across okay and not seeming too scattered, and just really, really hoping that she will get back on. Let's see. Which is the next one. So I shared that link. And again, now this is a government grant, and I normally don't share government grants with newbies in case you're new to grant writing, because government grants are what have scared people. See, people have always thought that all grants come from government, and that is a myth. Matter of fact, do you know that Target gives $4 to $5 million a week in grant funding? Yes, I'm talking about Target, where you go in and you shop. And Target is a non-government corporation that is giving funding. The over 75 billion that I said is given every year, that is not including government grants. So, but the National Endowment for the Arts is a government funder. And so the reason why I often do not share government grants initially is because the grant application is a little bit more tedious than applications like from the Ford Foundation or Target or Walmart Foundation or any of those others. Excuse me. And so, but I couldn't resist sharing that one because it's pretty juicy. They've got a lot of good stuff there. The creative, let's see, here's another one. It's the National Endowment for the Arts, but they've got a creative writing fellowships. The National Endowment for the Arts offers $25,000 grants for fiction and creative nonfiction and poetry to published creative writers that enable the recipients to set aside time for writing, research, travel, and general career achievement. This would be a good one for those of you that are in the process. This program operates on a 2-year cycle with fellowships in, prose and poetry available in alternating years. Let's see, even going further back in 2023, it says in 2023, we will be accepting applications. And let's see, they've got literature fellowships. Application deadline is, earliest announcement for grant awards, December 2023, to start in January 2024. This one may be harder for people to catch up and meet these deadlines. So let me go to another one. The Wellcome Trust grants. Let me give you some information about them. They also fund researchers to take on important questions relating to life, health, and well-being with creative approaches that push boundaries. We plan to spend $16 billion by 2032 to advance scientific discovery and take on the world's most urgent health issues. So if you are someone that can write about health and wellness, this is something that you would want to look at. They say what funding opportunities are available. We have several grants and awards available to researchers at all stages. So if you know someone that's a researcher, you want them to look at this grant. So view all funding opportunities. Let's see. Mental Health Award, understanding how anxiety and trauma-related problems develop, persist, and revolve. Let's see. Duration of funding, up to 5 years for funding. And let's see. Early career researcher. This is who is eligible. Early career researcher, established researcher, leading a research program where you're, let's see. Trying to see where I can give you this information. Instead of reading, let's see, preliminary application deadline. Okay, preliminary application deadline is November 14th, 2023. So instead of reading all of this, I'm going to put this in the chat. And again, these are for researchers, whether you're a beginning researcher, advanced, you want to look at this particular grant, and they've got some hefty funding that they're giving out. So let's go back to. You know, I've gotten so caught up in the grants and all of that I've let time just get away from me. So I want to thank you. And I'm sorry that my very special guest, something happened. I see that I've gone past my time. There's so many grants that I want to talk to you about. Please, please, please go to my website at philanthropyalliance.org. That's philanthropyalliance.org, and sign up for the free grant information and other activities that we send out regularly. I will bring you back my very special guest, Miss Phyllis Hodges, because she's such a personality. She's so full of life. She's right here in Arkansas, and I just look so forward to you feeling her energy and seeing her books as she talks about her tour. So we will bring her back. I thank you all again for tuning in. This is Sherita Herring with Beverly Hills to Barnyard.